Let's start with Banshee, for instance. I would say Banshee would be like a B or A rank ghost, okay? S is most lethal. So like for me, a demon or a mimic could be like an S tier. That to me is pretty obvious. Like mimic would be S tier because it's all of them. So it could be anything. So like S tier, lethal, it's fun, it's quirky, it's the mimic. We love the mimic. D would be like Goryo. No one likes the Goryo because it doesn't give you evidence. It stays in one spot. It just doesn't work out for anybody. Demon would be like, I'd say A if you're not ready for it. I don't think it's S tier, but I'd say it's like A tier. It can surprise you. But once you know it's a demon, well, you just know to be careful then at that point, you know? Plus you can like get your crucifixes out, utilize that, utilize smudge sticks. Goryo doesn't deserve to be in Phas. That's a horrible ghost. Yeah, I completely agree. A Deogen. I actually love Deogens. I think that's like S rank because it can be lethal, right? If you don't know it's a Deo, it's going to get you. It's going to get new players, so it can be lethal. But once you figure it out and you're verified of it, yes, you're like, aha, I know. Hantu. Man, I feel like these are pretty straightforward and easy. A Hantu would be like an A or S tier. Ooh, I don't know. I'm going to go with A tier, but we might come back to that one later, actually. I might come back and be like, you know, I think that might be an S tier because I really like the Hantu. And it's also lethal when it's cold. It's very fast. It surprises you, but you can see its breath, which I love. It also turns the breaker off a lot too, because it wants the house to be cold. So it makes its entire house able to be cold so it can chase after you quickly. The Jin, I don't like the Jin very much. The end. No, I just feel like the only way to know it's a Jin is with the breaker. You could get confused with other ghosts like the shade or the spirit. I mean, like only way to like know it's a Jin is almost to rule it out unless you have the breaker turned on, right? So like if the breaker is broken, there's really nothing you can do other than just rule it out based on nothing else. Oni, it's not a wraith, it's not a yokai, it's not a yuri, it's not a shade, not a spirit. There's no way to rule it out unless you have the breaker as an option. I think it's like C. It might be a B though. Oh man, this one's difficult. I'm gonna say here for now, just 'cause my gut is telling me here, but like we might come back to this one later as well. A mare. I don't like mares. Except when they turn the lights off immediately, when they do their power. I would say like a B or a C. They can be kind of lethal because they can attack early because it's night. But by the same token, I feel like, I don't know. I'm really going back and forth between these two. This is really difficult. Moroi, I feel like is probably A tier or S tier. One of these two, because they can be really scary once you have one, because it's the fastest ghost in the game with line of sight. Myling sucks. We hate Myling. I never know it's a Myling. I never feel like I can really like not hear it, you know? I feel like I have a hard time with that. I don't like Myling. I don't. I just don't. I have a hard time with Myling. I guess it is kind of like Henri though, in that you don't hear it coming. So like it could be kind of lethal in that sense. It might be right there. It might be... I don't know if it's firmly in C, but yeah. Obake I love. I just think Obake is fantastic. It might be an S rank. It's just so fun. Like once you see it, once it flickers over to the other model, it's a really cool moment. I love that a lot. Telegraphs what it is pretty quickly, as long as you're looking for it, which I think is great. I think Oni is like B or a C. Do I see it during a hunt very clearly? Yeah. Do I hear like a ghost ball event? No. I think B is probably a good place for Oni. Onryo, I've literally seen it hunt in front of open flame. It's a liar. It's a Goryo. Let's get out of here. Phantom, I think is a B. Again, I haven't tested this, but when you take a picture, you don't have any distortion in your image, okay? So sometimes you'll have like distortion in your image when you take pictures of ghosts, but Phantom doesn't do that. I don't know if that works with a video camera or not though, because I know with video cameras as well, you see distortion. I don't know if that happens with a Phantom though, with a video camera, which is something I want to know. If that was the case, I might move it up to A, but I think B is pretty good because like you can take a picture of it and boom, it'll disappear and it's like, aha, I know what you are. Poltergeist. It's either between a or a B, and here's my thought process between that. It could be S if it had more polty piles. If it was really like, this is a poltergeist, but I feel like a lot of times I don't believe it. You know, I'm just like, is that a poltergeist? And it doesn't really feel like it's throwing a lot of stuff. And then it's like, yeah, it was a poltergeist. It's like, that didn't feel like one. Okay, a Raiju. I actually really like Raijus. I'm not sure why, but I do like them. They could be A but I'm thinking B for Raiju. Because they can hunt early, that's pretty scary. It might be up here. They can speed up and slow down as well, which is also pretty scary. Okay, Rev would be, I think, A tier. I don't think it's quite Mimic Dio status, but they're pretty scary because if you don't know it's a Rev and it has line of sight and you have no exit strategy, you're dead. And with the new update, it knows your last known location, it runs to you. That's terrifying because it used to be it would just walk around slow before it found anybody, and now it'll hear you and run to your last known location and then start walking slow, which I think is great. Shade is also awful. I feel like doesn't work properly a lot of times. You get it and you're like, really, that was a shade? It was such a weird shade. Like, I don't think I understand the mechanic of a shade, or like it's not been properly like explained, because it feels like a shade should be really quiet. And then you have it where it's like really loud, really vocal, hunts all the time. And it's like, it was a shade. It's like, really? Wow, okay. I could have sworn that was a demon. Spirit. I actually like spirits a lot because it's like, to me, it's very obvious. As long as you have a timer, you can clearly like know it's a spirit. I like that. I think it's a good design. I think that works well. And then like spirits have a certain behavior about them as well. Like they're kind of like djinns a little bit, and they're very aggressive when you're around their area. Once you smudge them, they get even more aggressive initially until they can hunt again, which I think is really cool. A firm B for me though. Not an A, just a B. Like it's good, it's not great. So we're listing like how fun it is and how lethal it is, okay? Kind of like a little bit of both of there. So like obviously these can be lethal, but they're also horrible to pick, and a lot of times you don't have them. So like for me, Mimic can be really lethal because it can be anything. Deogen can be lethal for new people, right? Demons can be pretty lethal. Hantus can be lethal. Morois, Obakes, Raiju, all lethal. Also fun, also creative, good ghosts. I feel like these are good designs. They're obvious what they are. They're very unique to their skill set, and they're fun to go against. These, not so much. So Thay, I like Thay, actually. I think Thay is good. These hunt early, and they're really fast early on. They are kind of annoying later on, though. I feel like this is a solid list. We're going off of vibes. We're going off of how fun it is to go against, how lethal it is. So it's a little bit of a spectrum here going off of it. Like, for example, to me, it's very obvious. Goryo, horrible ghost. Not fun, not unique, not clever. Dots you never get, from a video camera. Not a good ghost, It's not like it's lethal either. It's not like it's like, oh, it's such a, crazy ghost to go against. Like, oh my God, it's a Goryo. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a Goryo. Twins. I'm really between like A and B. It's really between these two, you all. I don't know. Okay, so here's my thinking. I like twins. I think they're actually really fun. When you hear it going a little faster than normal, you're like, that sounds like twins. Or a little slower, you're like, that sounds a little slow to me. You're like, that could be twins. And I like that. I think that's really cool. I also like that they throw a lot of stuff too, which makes you think maybe poltergeist. In fact, Deogens, a lot of times I think they're a poltergeist because they throw so much. Twins for sure make me think like, oh, it's very active, So that's really cool. I wouldn't say, I think I'm convinced myself it is a B. I don't think it's quite an A. Twin rankings varies by map size. A on small map for sure. Oh, that's interesting. Wraith, I feel like is probably a B. And the reason why I think that is because like, it's nothing crazy. It's kind of frustrating to not get ghost pictures, but also it's like really obvious when it's a Wraith, or didn't walk through salt, it's a Wraith, like that's obvious to me. But like by that same token, it can also teleport, which is kind of scary. It's good, but can't take salt pictures. Exactly. So like getting the perfect score is a lot harder with a Wraith. Usually if I have a Wraith, I'm just like, well, I'm not getting a perfect investigation. Yokai. I don't like yokai. A lot of times I think it's a yokai or not a yokai because it seems to follow me around, but it's just the way that it's been pathed, like it just seems to like follow you around just because it was going to walk that way anyway, obviously. And then I'm like, oh, I guess it saw my light or it detected my electronic equipment or something like that when it just didn't do that. Yokais are grumpy. They are dumb. Like old men. People have a lot of opinions about yokais. That's very funny to me. I did not realize that. Yuri. And then I think we're going to go through and just make sure that we're happy with our picks. We'll go from the bottom up. I think Yuri's going to go right here as well. I think Yuri's going to firmly plant right here because like sometimes it's really cool. Like it's touching the door a lot. It closes the front door without a ghost event. Things happen that make it really could be like B or A. But like most of the time it kind of hovers around the lower area in my opinion. There's nothing special about a Yuri that I'm just like, aha, you know, I know it's a Yuri. Goryo, Onryo, yes, I'm very happy with both of these. I feel good about that. Jin, Myling, Shade, Yokai, Yuri. C, I think I feel pretty good about that too, actually. B, for Banshee, Mare, Oni, Phantom, Polter, Spirit, Twins, Wraith. Twins, Poltergeist, I might move up to A, but I feel like that's too good for them. Like, there's sometimes I don't really like Poltergeist because it doesn't do a Poltipile a lot of times. Like, I have a hard time getting that to work. And then it doesn't feel like it's throwing stuff like it should. Sometimes. Usually during hunts it does, but I have had it happen where, like, it'll walk over stuff and not throw it. And it's like, well, it should have a 100% chance of throwing everything that it touches. How did it miss that? It can't be a Poltergeist, is my thought process. And then it is, and it's like, what? Twins and Poltergeist could be up here, but again, Twins is just okay to me. Banshee, I'm happy with that. Wraith, yeah, middle of the road. It's good. Okay, for A rank, I think I'm happy. I think I'm actually pretty happy with this. For A rank, Demon, Hantu, Moroi, Obake, Raiju, Rev, and Thay. Let me think on this. Demon, Hantu, Moroi, Obake, Raiju, Rev, Thay. I think I'm actually good with that too. Demons are pretty obvious most of the time. Not always. Sometimes Demon could go down to B actually, but I think I'm going to leave it here. Again, we're kind of going off of like how lethal the ghost is, but also like how fun it is to play against as well. So like, even if Goryo had been like really lethal, well, if it had been, then we'd be like, I think it'd be more fun because we'd know it's a Goryo, you know? It's like, oh, this is really lethal for this reason. It'd be up higher in the rank. But like, it's how fun it is to play against, but also how lethal it is too. Hantu, I think A for Hantu. I like Hantus. I like to see their breath. I like when they speed up and slow down based upon if it's cold or not. Morois, sometimes I have a hard time with them because they are kind of like not fast or not slow. So I don't hear the speed change. You know, it sounds like it's like a normal speed ghost. Obake, I like quite a bit as well. I think that's good. I don't think it's S tier, but I think it's good. Raiju, I think I died to these a lot actually. They hunt early. They can be fast with electronic equipment around, which I think is really cool. A Rev is terrifying when it sees you. Pretty easy to deal with as long as you're hiding. And then Thay can also hunt early and are very fast, so they're very scary. But again, as long as you're hidden ahead of time, you'll be fine. You just gotta make sure that you're ready for that. But they could be S tier.
Every time you say Thay, I think you are talking about me, said the little guy.
A rank. Okay, good. I feel good about that. So, Mimic and Dio is the last one. And I think those are firmly there. Dio-Jin could be like A rank, but I think it kills a lot of new people. And I think that's a lot of fun. And I think it's a really cool ghost where it's like, why did it find me? You know, and it's like, guys, there's a Dio. Like I still die a Dio sometimes because I didn't know it was a Dio, you know? Or I'll run out in the open and be like, it's a Dio. And it's like a Thay or a Moroi or a Hantu or a Raiju or a Rev, you know, like I'll think it's something else. And so I'll jump out of my hiding spot ready to like run away from it. So like the mind games that Dio-Jins play with you, even when they're not in play, is good as well. I think a Dio-Jin is a solid S tier ranked ghost. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's great for both experienced players and beginners alike. Mimic obviously is S tier because it can be anything. A Mimic can be a Dio. So by process of elimination, Mimic can be anything. So yeah, I think this is solid. I'm happy with this list overall. I think this is good.